Today's video is about pain. You see, if you're a human being, you go through pain. Unfortunately, that's the way life works. If you're feeling discouraged, you're going through hell, you're battling depression, you're dealing with some other kind of pain in your life, this video is for you. Now, I wish with all of my heart that I could make your pain go away, and I wish that I can make mine go away as well. But in today's video, I'm gonna share a couple of things, points, scriptures, advice, things that hopefully will help encourage you in your pain and make the pain a little bit more bearable. We don't know how long God is gonna keep us in certain situations, which sucks because, you know, I'm the kind of person that likes to plan. So for me, I'm like, God, I just wanna know how long this is gonna take. But it really sucks when you're just going through something that feels like it'll never end and you don't know how long it's gonna take. And that's what the point of this video is. The point of this video today is to share things that will hopefully encourage you. And, you know, I'm gonna share a bit of my story, some of the pain that I've gone through in the hopes that what's up, my friend? So if you're tuning in to today's video for the first time, my name is Jackie Ferrari. On this channel, I make music, I offer spiritual encouragement, and more. And my secret sauce is that I create custom songs for all kind of special occasions. So if you're a business or brand that needs a special song to celebrate a milestone, or you just want a song that incorporates the message of your brand, or you're a couple getting married, you want a special song to celebrate your love story in front of your friends and family, or you got a birthday coming up, whatever it is, I got you. So if you like today's video, be sure to like and subscribe, hit the like button, smash the subscribe button, and you know how it is. I don't want you to miss anything that I post, any updates, encouragement, all that good stuff. So without further ado, today's video is about pain, but the song that I just released, if you saw it, is called Crying, and it's about about a lot of the inner turmoil and angst I've been facing for the past 5 years. You see, the past 5 years have been some of the hardest years of my life. And that's what I'm gonna share my story in a second, but guys, you know, pain is something ultimately that can make or break us. And I will admit, there are times in my life when I have let my pain get the best of me and I wish that I hadn't. And it affects my mood, my relationships, and my overall well-being. And that's the time when you gotta say, hey, I don't wanna be defeated by my pain. You gotta use your pain to grow. All right, so my story starts back in 2019. Long story short, my dad got sick and ultimately passed away. We were very close, and that was a very difficult year for me to go through. Just, you know, being 17 years old and losing a parent, it's, you know, a very traumatic experience. And, you know, I felt lonely. I felt like God left me. God didn't care about me. God abandoned me. And I was stuck with my mom and stuck with, you know, I don't have any siblings, so it's just me and my mom. And I just feel extra lonely, really felt abandoned by God. And of course, it was a really painful experience. I questioned God. I stopped caring and reading my Bible for a couple months. One of the most painful things I've been through. Now, one of the things my dad always encouraged me, and this is why I love my dad, because he was so peaceful, he was so encouraging, he's very gentle, and those are the things I really resonated with when I was able to share stuff with my dad, which is why we were so close. One of the things he always encouraged me to do is start a business. And that same year, I started my first business, which was a t-shirt store where I sold motivational and Christian clothing. Not even sure if things were gonna work out, but I just decided to put myself out there. And I also love creating music, and I wanted to start a business because I thought I could make a lot of money to put toward my music. Boy, was I wrong. Dude, if you wanna make a lot of money, don't start a business. The wrong way to go about things. Get a job, and then start your business. You know, give it 2-3 years. It's gonna take time. But again, you know, I didn't know what I was doing. I was just a high school kid. Wanted to make money so I could pay for music recording in studio and all that stuff. All the stuff music-wise that you're creative, you know how expensive it can be. I wanted to use it for all those things. Now at the time, I was also caught up in believing, you know, all the law of attraction stuff, you're a person of faith, you know, the law of attraction stuff, you know, that says you can declare the things you want to see, or if you sow seeds, God will reap the harvest. It treats God almost like a genie, and see as if he's here to serve us rather than the other way around. And for a whole year, I was praying and declaring in faith that my business would make money, that I would have enough money to put toward my music. And y'all, I did everything I knew to do to grow a business. I didn't have a lot of money, but I used all the money I had to run ads on Facebook and Instagram. I tried to figure out, watch all the YouTube videos I could to figure out how to run Facebook ads, how to make videos, and I talked about it on social media. I paid for graphic design work. I did the SEO. I built an email list, started a blog, handed out business cards. I went to a mall, I remember this, put out business cards in like every square inch of the mall. Just walked around the entire first floor, putting business cards everywhere, just throwing them on the floor, putting them on the benches, just everywhere I could that would take a card. Same thing on the second floor, everywhere. Y'all, I even had a bumper sticker in my car because I was so desperate to get customers. But at the end of the year, I was disappointed, and I just felt like, why? I had no customers, not a single one. Funny, I actually had more people, when I announced on social media that I was closing my store, I actually had more people show interest in the products when I was closing than when I opened it, which I was a little disappointed and discouraged by. But honestly, I'm glad that thing didn't work out because it taught me more about faith and how faith is not transactional. Plus, I also didn't even really like running it. I was just like, I want money. I didn't even like running the t-shirt store. So I'm kind of glad it didn't work out. And you see, sometimes God allows us to go through things so we can grow and learn, you know? And growing from that, I realized that, hey, God is not a genie. And I was declaring faith. I was begging God to that my business would grow, but maybe that wasn't part of his plan for my life. And you see, sometimes we treat God like a genie in our faith, that things become transactional, and it's like, yo, that's not how God operates. And that was one of the biggest lessons I learned from that. Sometimes the things we want are not God's plan. So then I pivoted to trying to find more ways to make money from my music. But unfortunately, the failures did not stop there. And the confusion, the doubt, none of it stopped there. And turned into 5 other business failures, if I'm counting right. It might be 6. 5 or 6 other business failures, some of which I'm still dealing with today, if I'm being honest. And now I'm at this point where not only have I lost my dad, who was the one person I would have gone to talk about all my pain and struggles. I used to share everything with my dad because he was a great listener. But now I burned through thousands of dollars over the past, coming up on, I think in February, it'll be 5 years since I first started that first t-shirt store. I had nothing to show for it. I burned through thousands of dollars, only to have nothing to show for it. Lost tons of sleep because I was so focused on the grind. Felt like I missed out on so much of high school because I was sacrificing to try to get ahead, and failed 5 businesses. And when I say failed, I don't mean like, oh, I just made a couple thousand. I mean, bro, made less than $2,000 in the span of 5 years from a couple different businesses. And I was just, remember, and because of all this, I've spiraled into so many long periods of depression, dealt with tons of anxiety, and started comparing myself to other people who seemingly got success very fast, questioning why I'm still struggling years after starting. And just so many other things that I don't have time to go into this video. But basically the gist is comparing myself to other people. Like, oh, it took you 2 years to blow up? Bro, I'm 5 years in and I still haven't blown up. 5 years in. I started my first business 5 years ago, but really, I started making music 8 years ago. 8 years ago, 2016, I started writing songs. And sometimes I question, why have I feel like I've gotten nowhere in life. And it's a very painful experience to wonder, you feel like you're going in circles. You feel like you're going nowhere. Everything you try is not working. It's frustrating. If you've been there, raise your hand or type in a comment below, whatever. You've been there, I'm right there with you. But there's been a lot of painful moments in my life. Frustration, tears, doubts, and more. But I want to share with you 3 things I've learned and still working on as I go through pain in my life. All right, point number 1 I want to share with you is do not throw a pity party, because John 5:1-4 tells the story of a man who was a paralytic for 38 years. I mean, really think about that, 38 years. John 5:1-4 tells the story of a man who was a paralytic for 38 years. Now, the issue is not, obviously, you being paralyzed may not be within your control, but here's the thing. Where he was hanging out at this pool. And this pool, it was a specific pool that the first person to get into the pool, I forget exactly, you can go read the story in John chapter 5, but basically the first person to get into the pool within a certain frame of time was going to get healed by an angel that basically stirred up the waters of the pool. And this man had been sitting by the pool, I think I have this right, he'd been sitting by the pool for 38 years. And I'm like, bro, how have you been sitting by the pool? You had a chance to be healed. 38 years. But somehow, for 38 years, you've been complaining about how no one was able to help you. 38 years, bro? That's a long time. That's one thing if it's like, okay, this was out of my control. Like the woman with the story of blood, if you read that story, that was out of her control. She's bleeding for 12 years. But it's a whole other thing if you got a chance to be healed and you still just 38 years, my goodness. And so 38 years. You think that he would have at least been able to inch his way there. At least inch his way there, even if he couldn't walk, my goodness. Now I'm gonna start in verse 3. Check this out. Here, a great number of disabled people used to lie. The blind, the lame, the paralyzed. One who was there had been an invalid for 38 years. When Jesus saw him lying there and learned that he had been in this condition for a long time, he asked him, do you want to get well? Now I often think of that. Sometimes we're going through pain. The point I want to make is don't throw a pity party. We go through stuff and it's like, bro, we could have been healed, but sometimes it's because we throw pity parties, we get stuck in our situation. I know I've been there. It's like you get stuck in the past, you get stuck in the things that didn't work out, you get stuck in frustration. Don't throw a pity party. Do you want to get well? Do you want your situation to change? Again, I understand not everything is within your control, but for the things that are within your control, do you want to get well? You see, sometimes we prolong our pain by staying stuck with the things that happened to us in the past. Sometimes we're the reason we're still in pain. And my friends, this is something I'm working on. I am not speaking to you saying this, I have this figured out. I am still working on it. I'm preaching to myself. Because there have been many times in my situations where I get stuck in the business failures and I'm like, bro, why am I even trying? Everything I try just doesn't work out. I've been there and I'm still working through that. But, the question you have to ask yourself is, do you really want to get well? Do you want things to change with what's in your control? Now, I want to contrast this with the story of the paralyzed man in Mark 2 who had 4 men to help him get to Jesus. Verses 1-4 reads, a few days later, when Jesus again entered Capernaum, the people heard that he had come home. They gathered in such large numbers that there was no room left, not even the outside door, and he preached the word to them. Some men came bringing to him a paralyzed man carried by 4 of them. Since they could not get him to Jesus because of the crowd, they made an opening in the roof above Jesus by digging through it and then lowered the mat the man was lying on. Somehow this man was able to get people to help him to get to Jesus so he could be healed. Somewhere along the way, he either asked his friends to help him, but he could have done the same thing the man by the pool did. He could have just stayed stuck in his misery, but somehow his friends were able to help him. Either he asked him or they just, somehow they were able to help him. And then not only that, but his friends were determined. His friends didn't stop at being stuck like, oh, there's too many people here and just leave. Like, bro, his friends carved a hole in the roof, lowered him through the roof. Like, that's how much you gotta want to get out of your situation at times. Sometimes it just requires that kind of desperation, you know, and you gotta look crazy sometimes. You gotta not care, otherwise you'll stay stuck. Now don't prolong your pain. Let me ask you, are there things that you're doing in your life that are keeping you stuck in your pain? All right, point number 2 is to minister to others in your pain. You see, Jesus ministered to others in the midst of his greatest pain. He made sure his mother was taken care of in John 19:25-27 when he was on the cross. I mean, bro, like this man is dying on a cross, being crucified, and he's ministering, make sure his mom is taken care of. Like, I don't think I'd be worried about my mom, honestly. Like, if I was dying on a cross, the last thing I'd be worried, unless she's standing right there in front of me, maybe, but like, I would not be thinking about my mom. I'd be thinking about my pain, like, ow, 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 or whatever. And in Luke 23:43, he also ministered to the thief on the cross by offering him the gift of salvation right there and then. Today you will be with me in paradise, having a conversation. I mean, in Luke 23:34, he prays to God that he might forgive those who put him on the cross. See, he was thinking about others, thinking about the thief, thinking about his mom, thinking about all the people who put him on the cross, hoping that they could get forgiveness. And even at his greatest pain, Jesus wasn't concerned about his own needs. My friend, the best way to feel better when you're down or to get out of a rut is to go help someone else. There are people out there who need ministering. Let me ask you, who can you minister to? All right, point number 3 is to be honest with God about whatever you're dealing with. Now this point is pretty straightforward, so I don't really need to go into a lot of detail here. But yeah, be honest to God about the things that you deal with. You don't have to mince words or sound a certain way or sound proper or whatever it is to feel like God, you know, to think God is gonna hear you, right? No, you don't need to be perfect. God wants your honesty and your true feelings. He isn't judging you when you come before him. Now, that's pretty much a wrap on the video. Let me know in the comments, which point did you find most impactful? Which scripture, or if there's any other scriptures that you think might be relevant to today what I talked about, let me know. Drop them in the comments below. I hope this video encouraged you today and challenged you to make a few changes in your life that applies. You know, it's a new year. You know, people always say new year, new me, but then you come to the end of the year and you're like, did I really change? And you're like, not really. So I hope this year you actually decide to grow in whatever areas of your life you need to grow in. If you're trying to figure that out, pray that God can reveal those things to you. Now hold up, before you go. Whoa, where are you going? Before you leave, if you like this video, I have 3 different ways we can stay in touch. Listen up, it's gonna take 30 seconds. Okay, smash the like and subscribe buttons so you don't miss out on anything I share in new music. That's number 1. Number 2, if you're a business or brand, you're getting married, or you're celebrating some other kind of special occasion like a birthday, or you wanna celebrate Mother's or Father's Day, or your mom or dad, like, get a custom song. It's awesome. I love making these. They're so much fun. Links are in the description below. I can write in mostly any genre. If you want to learn more about the process, click the links in the description below. I've also got some videos, examples that you can check out as well. If you're ready to book a consultation, click the link below. Lastly, I have an email list. The link is below as well, but I promise I'm not going to spam you. But if you want to get more updates from me, be sure to sign up for that below. I'm also going to give you a free download as one of my songs for a thank you for signing up with me. And that is a wrap. Thank you for tuning in. Peace.